Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another Final Fantasy Brave Exvius video, and today we're going to be talking about and reviewing the Kingdom Hearts 3 units, which includes New Vision Sora, New Vision Riku, and also New Vision Kairi. And yeah, so it's time for Global to get them. No nerfs, of course. It's plenty of time now to get them. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe because I review units on the JP side, and I also review units on the global side at the same, not the same time, but I do reviews on both of them. So if you're interested in unit reviews, this is the place for them. And if you enjoy spotlights of units and things like that, I also do that. I also play a bunch of other games. So if you want to go ahead and join me in climbing subscriber counts, please consider subscribing. Please consider liking the video. Make sure I know that you guys like the reviews, and let's get into it. So we got Kairi here, Kairi, and she's kind of like the controversial of this banner because really there's some things going on with her. She's a healer DPS. She does have 200% TDH, which is standard at this point on the global side, on both sides even. She's light focused, which is not necessarily a bad thing, and she needs to build up her mods in order to do more damage. That's important. Her normal form has some healing, but really her Brave Shift form is where you want to use the most healing. So there's that. And yes, her Brave Shift form has massive healing, but also regen at the same time. 25% light damage boost on a Gradius ability. Sorry about that. Grandis ability. Gradius, whatever you want to call it. And maybe she could be a limited burst damage dealer, but she's really not known for that. Honestly, she's not really known for anything. The biggest problem with Kairi is, well, we'll get into it, but first of all, her STMR is very good. Her STMR is super juicy, super spicy, so that alone makes her good because that STMR is, I moogled her. Let's just say that. So there's some flaws. So she wants to be a healer but also a DPS at the same time, but she's not spirit scaling. So she wants to focus on attack and spirit at the same time, which is why her TMR and STMR give attack and spirit at the same time, because it makes it a little easier, but it's still hard to do that. So it's a little hard for her to make her work, but for people who actually like her, maybe you'll make it work anyways. And she just isn't that great of a healer. She's more of like a side healer than a main healer. But I will say compared to my JP review back then, there's becoming a time and place now where side healers are actually becoming more relevant than before. Healers are not even that necessarily, like for example, Uriah. New Vision Awakened Uriah has side healing capabilities, and she's brought along for that, with all those other things that she can do. So maybe Kairi will be useful in the long future, being she can just be a DPS but also heal on the side, and being able to be a contribution to the team in that way. I think that's a pretty good idea. I'm going to be doing a trial where my Fiona and Daisy is going to be the healer. Surprisingly enough, I know, right? It's going to be shocking. So yeah, she's going to be the healer in that. So their side healing may be the rise, guys, because to get to the point where you need so much DPS in your team now, because it's going to be ridiculous. So the real problem for a lot of you guys, and I added this to my remaster, the scarcity of red pearls is going to make it really hard to invest into her, unless you really like the character. So I already saw a lot of people saying that they're having a hard time with red pearls, and I feel ya. And in the same way, on the JB side, I used an STMR removal on her. She's still EX0 because it's just not worth using a red pearl on her to get to EX2. It's just not worth it. I'd rather her just be EX0 forever, and you know, I'll never be able to get her vision card, but that's okay. Maybe someday when they shower us in red pearls, maybe I'll be able to go back to her and say, hey, I want that vision card now. and then I could do that. But until then, it is what it is. So, what is my review on her going to be? What is the score going to be? I think it's going to be a 7.5 out of 10. Her STMR really helps out that score. It's just that it's just like she doesn't really do anything that's groundbreaking. She does some good stuff, but it's just like, give me the STMR and move on. Just push her off to the side. So 7.5 for that, and we're gonna be moving on to Riku. So he is the breaker DPS. He has the protagonist type of ability passive where he gets his own burst on the first turn, I believe anyways. Pretty sure that's the case. And he has 130% Dark Imperil on a two turn cooldown, so that's really nice. If you are using a dark DPS, you will like this a lot because most DPS only have 120. So that's pretty good. And we also have 80% full break on demand, which is, standard at this point. And also 85% full break on Limit Burst, which is nice because he'll be using his Limit Burst anyways. So that's a good thing. 6 times cap human killers in his normal form, and he also has fairy killers in his Rage Shift form, or spirit killer, whatever you want to call it. Fairy killer, spirit killer is the same thing. And he has the break dodge ability, which is nice. Breakers are going to be having that more often. We'll be talking about another breaker in this exact review that also has break dodge abilities. So, and also he has he's dark focused, and he has a limit burst damage percentage, so it's pretty good. He can be a limit burst damage dealer similar to Sora. So there's some cons involved, including only 120%, only 100% true to wield, and of course 200% with his STMR. His LB is Dark Element, which could be good or bad depending on what you want him to use him for. And the same thing here again. His Ray Shift form is just pure DPS, which is not he just has no breaks at all, I don't think. And it could also be good or bad. It depends on what situation you want him to be in. Do you care that he's only a DPS in his Brave Shift form? Are you bringing him along because he has that Brave Shift form? Like, I'm not. Like, yes, it's in the con section, but it's kind of like an iffy thing. Like, it's up to you with that part. Do you want to bring him along for that DPS part? Do you not want to bring him along for that DPS part? It's an iffy thing, guys. And a really unfortunate thing, because I believe that his 7-star form had dark element absorb, and unfortunately only his Brave Shift form has dark absorb. So that kind of is unfortunate. It probably will almost never come up, but it's just an interesting thing that could have happened. The biggest thing now that we know that we didn't know the future back then, of course, when this came out on the JP side. New Vision Lock is around the corner, and yes, Riku will last for a long time. He's still being used now as a breaker and damage dealer. That's fine. But Locke has a lot of things that he can provide as well. So if you are still wanting to hold on to Vaughn, I don't think it's worth going for Riku, because yes, he'll have a lot of things and he can do a lot of good stuff that I just mentioned. But Locke is also really strong. He can imbue, he can do all those kind of things as well. So it's up to you at this point. This is kind of like a crossroads of breakers right now. You want to stick to Vaughn? You want to stick to holding on to Vaughn? You want to wait for Kryla when the Christmas comes around? Maybe she'll get a New Vision Awakening. All that good stuff. So it all depends on what you guys think. But I'm still going to be reviewing him as a score, and I'm going to be giving him an 8.5 out of 10. He has a lot of good things about him. It would be unfortunate. I mean, his score would probably be better if he had more turns on his Brave Shift form, at least, to make him, have those things. He only has 2 turns, so you have to make the best out of those 2 turns, guys. So 8.5 for Riku. And finally, the main event, the man himself, Sora. I know everybody's looking forward to Sora for a long time, and I don't blame you. So I'm gonna go over everything, but you may have known this already, but I'm still gonna go over it anyway, in case there's someone that is new to the game and needs to know more about Kingdom Hearts 3 collaboration that may have come over from the Kingdom Hearts game. So Sora is a limit burst damage dealer, which means that he is going to be using his limit burst whenever he can. Of course, in his Brave Shift form only. You'll not be using his limit burst in his normal form, base form, whatever you're going to call it, because it's not that good. It's just okay. But he can chain normally. He has normal chaining capabilities on the ground. He does not have to use his limit burst if you don't want it to, but I would recommend it. He's light focused. He has a 6 times cap in both forms, 150% true to wield, and 200% with his TMR. I will mention this as a side note. His TMR is actually very good for him. So make sure you're using his TMR unless you really don't want to, because I'm using his TMR, and that's speaking volumes. If someone like me is using his TMR, then you should probably just use it because it's really helpful to his kit. Unlike the other Sora, where his TMR was just like whatever, this Sora's TMR is actually like, it's like synchronizes with his kit so well, it helps out. So you want to use this TMR. He has AMOE chaining. He has from practicing and testing and whatever you want to call it, his limit burst can actually fit into 3 times AMOE chaining frame, in that chaining time frame. So if that's useful to you, that's good. That's great. He has 50% evasion in his normal form. He has 30% evasion in his brave shift form. The 50% in his normal form actually came up a little bit. I've used him as a dodge DPS, so it can work. It is a decent thing. His normal form is more of a prep for his brave shift form, which hits way harder. He has spirit or fairy killer in his normal form and human killer in his brave shift form, which is much more important. I'm glad that they flip-flopped that from Riku, where his was different. So human killer in his brave shift form is much more important, but spirit killer could also be interesting as well. So I forgot to mention that he does have TDH, I believe, and TDH will be coming up. I built him as a TDH unit for the Omega Scorn trial. It is an important thing to do that, so make sure to go check that video out if you want to go see TDH Sora. I wouldn't recommend it for anything else, just for the Mega trial, just do a TDH for that. So we got some cons here, but I really couldn't think of too many, other than like he can only be in his brave shift form for a few turns. He's just locked to light on his limit burst in his brave shift form. That's the only con I can think of, and that's not really even that big of a con. It really isn't. So I got the rotations down there. I used to have a different rotation. That one's completely worthless in comparison to this new one. You want to use a limit burst on turn 3, definitely. And when I say limit burst, you want to shift the brave shift to limit burst, not the normal one. So turn 1, you want to go ahead and imbue. They get that 300% attack buff, and also the light imbue. You want to also do the grandest ability for imperiling, and also he has a 6 limit burst gauge fill chain move. On turn 2, you want to brave shift over, use the limit burst damage buff, use the light buff, and also do more limit burst chain, so that he'll have full limit burst. And then in turn 3, you want to go ahead and do that limit burst. So that's about it for that, guys. Am I going to giving Sora? It's hard. He's just a DPS in the end, whereas Riku is a breaker and a DPS. But Sora does so much damage and he's such a long-lasting unit. He is still, by the way, as I know there's a lot of people that were asking, and hopefully people are watching at this point, Sora is still up there in damage, guys. He still does more damage than most units that are even coming out right now on the JP side. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to be giving him also an 8.5 because of a different factor than what Riku can do, but then he's a breaker and a DPS. Sora is a long-lasting DPS unit. He will last you a whole long time, and he doesn't really need much to be geared. He just needs little burst damage, attack, killers. And just like I mentioned with Cloud, the AC Cloud video, if you want to go back and check on that, you need to synchronize all 3 of these things. So don't go 300% little burst damage, but then you have like almost no attack, and you have like almost no killers. You want to, killers are number 1. Killers number 1, attack, then limit burst damage. Because limit burst damage is kind of like, you can survive with 200%, you can survive with 250%. You don't need 300% limit burst damage for him to be good. But the killers are the most important thing, and I will keep screaming this until the cows come home, and they may never come home, because people are still using Fenrir on their DPS units in 2020. So that's the thing. So in the end, guys, I think this is a very good banner to go on, especially on global. There's a lot of benefits and buffs and things that happen in terms of the banner quality in comparison to the JP side where it was, yeah. So, and then guys, let me know what you guys think about this banner. Are you going to be going on it? Let me know what you guys think. And this is my announcement. People were asking, if you're watching at this part of the video, I'm going to be streaming Kingdom Hearts 3 pulls tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. So Thursday, noon Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you synchronize that if you want to come along to the stream. My stream will be down below, and it's also actually legitimately just literally down below, like right below me. So it's, you don't have to look at the video description anymore, but the link is there if you want to follow me in advance. Make sure you do that anyways. And make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the video, make sure you hit that notification bell. It's not a meme, guys. Hitting that notification bell is very important. And I hope to see you on the stream. I hope to see you in the full video, wherever you want to see it. You want to see it on YouTube, you want to see it on Twitch. You can do either or. So I hope to see you then, guys. Let me know what you guys think. And the keyword for the ending of this video is #shift. #shift will be the keyword for the ending of this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.